Hi everyone, it's Kaan Ristic from Beyond the Front Door, a relaxed, community-focused video series where we speak with local business owners about what makes their work meaningful and share local insights. And today we're here with Vincent Di Berardino of Oak Financial. Vince is a local financial planner. Welcome to the series, Vince. So for those out there that are thinking about increasing their wealth, or is someone that's looking to retire in the next 10 years or 5 years or a few years, what are some of the questions or discussions that you have with someone that wants to find more about financial planning?
Thanks very much, Kaan. Thanks for the opportunity, and hi to all the viewers out there. So financial planning is something that's quite broad, so it is a little bit hard to sort of nail or talk specifically about something that commonly comes up. However, we always start at the basics, and the first thing that we do as a financial advisor is firstly understand the client's current position, because unless you know where you're currently at, you don't actually know what your options are going to be and what opportunities might be available. So the way that starts is we get a good understanding of your income, your expenses, your assets, your liabilities, so that we know exactly what your financial position is. From there, we then deepen the discussion in terms of asking you, what are some of your priorities in the short term, the medium term, and the longer term? Now, the benefit of a financial advisor, and having done this for some time, is that although life is quite unpredictable, there are certain things are fairly predictable in life. Most people want to purchase that first house. Some people may want to send their kids to maybe a private school or semi-private school. Some people probably want to get married at some point or want to buy an investment property. On the other end of the spectrum, as clients get older and they have aging parents, could be aged care and health comes into the picture. So sometimes the process of talking to a client is one, yes, to uncover what their goals are and what their priorities are, but another benefit, which is probably underestimated, is the value that I can add by raising some of these potential things that they maybe need to consider.
Very well said. Is there a recent client that you've helped through a certain process that you can share with us, maybe a success story?
Sure, I'll share with you an example. I actually met with a couple yesterday at their home, and the reason for the meeting was really they were uncertain. And to tell you the truth, that's probably a trigger for a lot of clients reaching out to me. They're just not sure. And so in this particular case, the husband was 68, retired, and the wife is 61 years of age, and she's currently working, earning about $100,000 a year. She had about $150,000 or has about $150,000 in superannuation, and the husband has about $490,000 in superannuation. And some of the questions that they had, or some of the concerns, were, if something happens to us, we want to make sure that our daughter receives our inheritance. So we want to make sure that our estate and our assets are passed on to our daughter in an efficient way, but also in a tax efficient way as well. They mentioned that they want to retire, or the wife wants to retire. She's 61, but they're just not sure how and when and how much money they might need. They currently have a mortgage, so there's all these conflicting things in their picture. So on one hand, they've got reasonable superannuation, but they've got a mortgage. She's 61, still working. He's 68, so they just weren't sure about how to sort of map their future and what options and possibilities they may have. So still in the process of doing some work for them, but essentially what I'm going to be able to do for them through a plan is look at ways to invest their superannuation in a way which is tax effective, in a way which also provides a regular tax-free income, because at the moment they're running on a deficit of about $25,000 a year because she's the only one working and they've got no other income. They've actually got a shortfall of about $25,000 a year, so they're just not sure how to plug that gap. So I've come up with a solution so that we can generate that tax-free income. What we're also going to do as part of this is that because their daughter is going to be their beneficiary, their daughter is over the age of 18. So how it works, when you pass on your superannuation money to a beneficiary that's over the age of 18, there is going to be some tax payable, and that's depending on the taxable component of the person's superannuation fund. Now, in this case, the client is probably up for about $60,000 to $80,000 in tax when the money's passed on to the daughter. So what I'm looking at here is something what's called a cash out and recontribution strategy. But essentially what that is, for the 68-year-old male, we withdraw the money out of superannuation, which is tax-free. That goes into his bank account. We immediately immediately put an amount of money back into superannuation. And what that does is it rejigs the taxable and tax-free component of the superannuation fund. So now, instead of the daughter having to pay maybe $60,000 or $80,000 in tax when the money passes to her, it's maybe more like 20 grand. So in that very, very basic example, she saves some money there. Now, the way that I see financial planning is, what material change are you making to a client's life? So I can sit here like I am now, I'm talking to you about the ins and outs of saving tax and the strategies. At the end of the day, that is pretty boring stuff. What is actually the most exciting thing about financial planning, and the reason why I'm so passionate about it, and I told the clients this, I said, I want to come back to you in 3 weeks' time once I've produced that plan with a solution that says, you know what, you're going to be able to retire at 65. You said you wanted $75,000 a year to live on indexed to inflation for the rest of your life. You said that you wanted to make sure that there's going to be some residual assets available to your daughter when you pass away. You said that you don't want to take too much risk with your investment, so we'll make sure that that's aligned. And you mentioned that you want to try and get some age pension as well. Guess what? I've been able to achieve all those things for you. How I do it, is it really important? And at the end of the day, what's important is the outcome for the client. So that's what I'm passionate about when it comes to financial planning. It's more the end result and the solution, what it gives to a client, not so much the inner workings of it.
Wow, that's just amazing. You can hear the passion in your voice, Vince, and I can see that you're very passionate about what you do, and thank you for sharing those insights. If some of the viewers are like me, sometimes numbers go over your head, but what I got from that is that you know your stuff. Just so our viewers know, you service all of Victoria.
That's right. Speaking with technology these days, I got some clients that prefer face-to-face, but also I can do virtual meetings and also phone calls. Normally what I like to do in a first meeting is just to have honest, open chat about the situation. Clients typically just share with me their position and what they're sort of looking to achieve. I'll share with them some ideas and some of my thoughts on that initial meeting. And then if it looks like there's some potential to move forward or do some work, which is going to be a benefit to the client, well then all well and good, then we can talk. Sometimes it doesn't progress past that first appointment, but what I can assure you is that, having that initial conversation, there are a lot of things. It's like you don't know what you don't know, and sometimes there's a little comment here or there that adds a lot of value to that client, something that they weren't aware of.
And that initial catch up, whether it's online or in person, or discovery meeting as we'd like to call them these days, that's a complimentary session to get to know people first step.
That's right, yeah. So there's no cost. The financial planning industry is quite heavily regulated, rightfully so. It's sort of come a long way, particularly over the last 20 odd years. So as a financial advisor, you need to be obviously fully qualified. We have to abide by the FASIA Code of Ethics, which basically is some guiding principles around the ethical standards that we need to follow. But we also are governed by the Corporations Act, and in particular Section 961B of the Corporations Act covers the best interest duty. So the best interest duty basically states that you must prioritise a client's interests above that of your own or of your business or company, and it's quite specific in terms of what you need to do to demonstrate that you have prioritized the client's best interests. So the important thing is, when you have a meeting with a client, if you can genuinely add value to the client, I'll promote the fact and let's do some work. However, if a client is already set up or there's really not much extra value that I can add, well then just the same. I've got an ethical obligation and a legal obligation to say, you know what, you're probably doing okay with how you're going at the moment, but I think it's still not a wasted appointment. I like to think that maybe spending an hour with me is probably not the most fun time, but hopefully they always find some sort of benefit out of it.
Well, I'm certain that it will definitely be of value to catch up, and thank you so much for being on the series today. And anyone that's starting their journey, whether you're younger and looking towards the future, or you're older and you're looking to plan the retirement, you're easily contactable. Your details will be on this video, but thanks so much for coming in and keeping in touch.
Thank you very much, Kaan. Thanks for the opportunity, and thank you very much, viewers, and good luck with your financial planning in your futures.